Yes, students. So in the succession of last video, I want to add here that with the several examples, especially of Robert Browning and Alfred Lord Tennyson, I have tried to mention that a certain kind of compromise was really very important and necessary to just solve the problem of dispute, the problem of class in Victorian age. The class which was in between the old belief and new belief, the clash between science and religion, the clash between the old beliefs, the beliefs of religion and the belief of modernity which was approaching, and few were accepting the new ideals and few were in the impression of new ideas of science. So a midway was required, neither totally old way of life, old way of thinking, old way of concerns, old way of beliefs, and neither totally the new concerns of life, only sordid kind of scientific beliefs. So it was necessary to make a compromise between old and new. It was necessary to make them understand कि old was correct and right on that place and new is correct and right on its place which is running. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong, but ultimately it is time, condition and situation makes the thing appropriate and right. The old belief was right on its place and new belief, the scientific time, the time of science, the time of new new kind of tendencies which is just coming in our society. So all these things have been just made a way for the Victorian compromise, and people of Victorian age, as by the efforts of Tennyson and Browning like literary artists, just made it a midway, a middle way, not left, not right, but a way in between left and right. So this way is called the Victorian compromise. In short, I have tried to make you clear. Now, students, next important thing of Victorian age is pre-Raphaelite movement. Very important to discuss here. Actually, pre-Raphaelite movement has got its inspiration from Italian painter Raphael. His name is Raphael actually. And the quality of Raphael's painting was this, that a kind of lucidity was in his painting, a kind of liveliness, liveliness, a charm was there, a kind of divine description of natural beauty, and the feeling of devotion was there, a kind of certain depth was there, a very serious kind of depth which creates a forgetfulness in the mind of the observers and spectators. So this has influenced the literary and painting class of society of England in Victorian age in the last phase, in the last decade of 19th century. But here I want to add that pre-Raphael painters, which are called pre-Raphaelite painters, so the kind of quality they have, the kind of greatness their paintings have, actually it was not found in the succeeding generation, in the successor of Raphael, it was not found. So pre-Raphaelite painting has fascinated so much. D.G. Rossetti, like painters of England, Swinburne like painters, Morris like painters, so much that they made an effort of pre-Raphaelite movement in English country in England in 1844, sorry, 1848. In 1848, they have tried to develop a pre-Raphaelite movement in England. Pre-Raphaelite brotherhood, you can say. Pre-Raphaelite brotherhood was found in 1448. And they have tried to just make their painting as live as the painting was before the Raphael. They tried to copy, they tried to imitate, and being inspired by those pre-Raphaelite painters, they have tried to just put this kind of liveliness in their paintings. But as I want to add here, that Rossetti, D.G. Rossetti, like painters were not only a painter, but they have a very special kind of literary talent. And other his contemporaries who were in his association, like Swinburne and Morris, they have equal kind of literary talent. So that's why the concern what they have thought about their painting, that was just converted into their writings. And through their writings, it has spread in the literature, and this pre-Raphaelite movement has just influenced the literature very much. And the major characteristics as was found in the painting, so this was converted into the literature. What was the beliefs of medieval beliefs which was lost in Victorian age earlier? It was again came in the literature of pre-Raphaelites. Medieval beliefs, the supernatural description, the description of art for art's sake, the sensuous description, the description of beauty, the description of music and melody, which was earlier in Romantic age. Unfortunately, it was lost in a Victorian era. So again, it came in the literature. So these are the major qualities of pre-Raphaelite movement. And you must have in your mind that the major writers of a pre-Raphaelite movement were D.G. Rossetti, Swinburne, and Morris. And they were so much fascinated about the beauty of nature, about the medieval beliefs, the moral beliefs, that they have formed another movement in England in the last phase, in the last decade of 19th century in Victorian age. It was a aesthetic movement. It was called aestheticism, and the literary artists of this field were called aesthetic literary artists, aesthetic literature. D.G. Rossetti, Swinburne, Morris, John Ruskin, yes, John Ruskin. And one of the leading literary artists of aesthetic movement was Oscar Wilde. Nobody can forget his novel Picture of Dorian Gray. The real picture, the real representation of aestheticism is found in Oscar Wilde's Picture of Dorian Gray. If you found the character of Dorian Gray and his relationship with Sybil Vane, and the description what was made there in the form of portrayal, which was changing its form as the defect was coming in the heart of Dorian Gray, its painting was being changed. So this is an excellent example of aesthetic literature. Aestheticism means a special kind of actually a special kind of idea about the beauty. The beauty, what must have the moral concerns. And if the beauty has not the moral concerns, so this can never be the beauty. And aesthetic writers have the joint opinion that the thing which is beautiful, certainly it has the blessings of God, and the thing which is not beautiful, definitely it has some defects, and this is away from the blessings of God. And the same kind of thing is reflected in picture of Dorian Gray. Earlier, when Dorian Gray was beautiful by heart, his painting was nice. His painting has a special kind of charm there. But in the painting, wrinkles and disfigurements started appearing on the wall, and it was the effect of the change in the heart. Also, it has emphasized a clear description about the sexuality in the society, what kind of approach the sexual mentality must have with the beauty concerns. So all these things have been just mentioned in aesthetic movement, which were led by Oscar Wilde, John Ruskin, and R.L. Stevenson is also there. You have studied his essays, R.L. Stevenson's essays. Yes, El Dorado, you have studied an ideal city, an ideal beauty of the city. And students, one thing I want to add here in this video, very necessary, what is for Victorian age. Actually, the final decade of Victorian age is also called the naughty 90s. Now the question comes, what is naughty 90s? Naughty means something something nutcut that you call, means something different approach the man have in the society he is living, just against it, a kind of revolutionary idea, a kind of opposite thought a man can have. So that is called naughty. The thing what you want, if the child is not doing, to you say that this child is naughty child. The very same kind of concerns, very same kind of thought we have found in the last decade of 19th century Victorian age, that some artists who came there, and they were none other, whom about we have discussed in pre-Raphaelite movement and also in aesthetic movement. They were the writers. R.L. Stevenson was there, and George Bernard Shaw was there, Oscar Wilde was there. Actually, they have started a separate stream in the last decade of Victorian age, which was totally different from the stream of traditional Victorian age. They have started giving different dimension to this age. They have started thinking in a different way, which was unlike the Victorian age, the traditional Victorian age. They have started following the medieval beliefs. They have started concerning over thoughts and imagination and the realistic view of life, the realism in the life. So this was against the Victorian age, the common Victorian age, what was earlier in Matthew Arnold, in Thomas Hardy even. So because this was against the initial concern, the basic concerns of Victorian age, that's why this is called naughty 90s. Here students, new kind of concerns of the literature were just coming in the literary field. This was the advancement of drama, emergence of drama, you can say, in Victorian age. Earlier, Drama has lost its identity in Victorian age. Some sporadic examples are there of drama in Victorian age, but they have not made ample kind of effect in this age. Now, again, George Bernard Shaw came on the field of literature, came on the platform of literature in the last decade, and he started writing the dramas based on the problems of the society, realistic plays. He started propagating the issues of the society. He started raising the problems of the society. And a kind of approach for the beauty, what was just raised by Oscar Wilde. He is called really very naughty child of naughty 90s. He made totally different concern of literature, which was really very different from Victorian literature. The emergence of drama, the emergence of new tendencies, revival of a new set of literary artists, and it was all against the Victorian approach of writing. Means you can never just consider the last decade of Victorian age as this is the age of traditional Victorian age, or this is the part of Queen Victoria, students. And this age can be called the transitional period of the decay of the belief of traditional Victorian era. This was the decaying time of the just passing time of traditional Victorian age, the traditional Victorian literature, and this was the coming of modern age, which will just you will see in 20th century. The belief of 20th century. Even William Makepeace Thackeray was in his stream in naughty 90s. So there is a different approach which was against the Victorian. That's why this decade is called the decade of naughty 90s. And its real impact was actually what the age was, which was proceeding towards, it was modern age. So they have found some connections of the modern age, and they have few beliefs, few ideals of traditional Victorian literature. Students, in short, we can say that if you find the literature of naughty 90s with your depth of concern, depth of your eyes, you will find that this final 10 years of Victorian age has half of the beliefs of romantic age. This is my personal opinion. The Victorian approach about the nature, about the description of beauty, the natural beauty, the medieval belief, the supernaturals, the aestheticism, what you will find here, even in Victorian age in the last phase. So all these things you will find, and also it has the touch of modernity, which was proceeding gradually towards them, and it will just come in the real form in the final phase of 19th century, the last phase, and you will find it in the 20th century. So somewhere the smell of 20th century was coming here, and it was against the belief of Matthew Arnold's traditional form of literature in traditional Victorian age. That's why this is called the naughty 90s. Thank you, dear students. With this video, I would like to just all possible facts I have tried to make you clear, and a detailed study of writers you must have in the next videos what I will just make, and I request you to make the detailed study of those writers what about I have just indicated, whether this is Thomas Hardy, whether this is R.L. Stevenson, or it is George Bernard Shaw recently, just now I am just discussing, and about Alfred Lord Tennyson, and about Robert Browning. You must study them in detail as a writer, as a novelist, as a poet, as a Victorian representative. So, with this note, I would like to just finish this video. Thank you very much, my dear students.